Nice. Got some big fish.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God!
This big mama came out. This is the biggest fish I've ever killed bowfishing.
Sun's out. Buff's out, baby. Good job. What a night. Right there in the rock. Wait, there's a big one. Nice shot, Caleb.
Hey, everybody. That's right, man. Welcome back to the Bowfishing Buzz. Schmitty, we are back.
Yes, we are.
For our February episode 53 here, buddy.
Yep, absolutely. We took a little, like we had stated in previous podcasts, during these slower months, we're going to do roughly like one a month, maybe two, whatever. So, but during these podcasts that we take a little bit longer of a break between them, we have just that much more information to cover.
That's right.
We got all kinds of cool stuff.
We got a special guest coming on.
We do have a special guest. Yep. You want to tell everyone who that's going to be, Matt?
You bet. I've actually shot in a lot of tournaments with this guy. I filmed with him. I met him probably back in 2009, 10, 11, right around in there somewhere. I met him.
Yep.
And we became good friends. It took a while for him to kind of accept me a little bit in his little circle of guys.
Yep.
Damian Loveless from Kentucky. He actually was on part of our pro staff a while back there.
Yep.
And like I said, we shot in a lot of tournaments together. We did some filming together. One of the better shots that I've ever seen in bow fishing.
I remember I've met him a couple times when we go down to Kentucky, and I remember beforehand you saying like, "Hey, Damian's a heck of a shot."
Yeah.
And I remember we were out filming one day, and
he,
from what I remember of him shooting, just you saying that, is he would shoot so fast.
Yep.
He shot so fast, and he
was
very
a heck
accurate.
of a snap shooter.
Yeah.
Yep. And accurate.
Yeah.
And not only on close shots, but you kind of know, like Damian was with Dennis Redden and Jeremiah Redden. That was their team.
Yep.
And I kind of came in as an outcast in that team because Dennis and I became friends.
Sure. Yep.
But so you all know that a lot of their fish that they shoot are big heads, and they're on the rivers, no lights, using spec ops lights to shoot those.
Yep.
So they're taking some longer shots, and he was so quick and so accurate. And he, like I said, he competed in a lot of tournaments years ago with that core group. And now he has an outfitting business down there, Loveless Outdoors.
Yep.
So we're going to have Damian on later on and talk to him about, his early intros into the sport of bow fishing, competing in tournaments, to now having a guide service right down there in Kentucky. So, it'll be kind of cool. And then we've got something special, Schmitty, that we're going to be starting to run here on our podcast. And I'm really excited about this because I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I do too. Yep.
It's going to be a lot of fun. What's going on, Schmitty?
I think what we're going to be doing here, Matt, in this podcast, spoiler alert, maybe, and in future podcasts, what we're going to do is we're going to sprinkle in a special code somewhere in the podcast. You never know where it's going to be.
Yep.
It might just randomly pop up in the middle of a conversation. All of a sudden, we'll just rattle off a little code. And what you guys are going to be able to do with that, these hidden podcast codes.
Yeah.
If you guys are listening to the podcast, we want to not just provide you entertainment and information, but maybe we'll give you a little bit of a discount or a deal on a specific AMS product.
Yeah.
So if you guys are listening, some point in the podcast, we're going to maybe make a little jingle, or maybe we'll just cut right to it. We're going to say a code, and that code will be able to be entered on the website when you go to the specific product that we'll be discussing, and it will give you a a certain percentage off of that specific product.
Right.
Should we tell them what the product is for today, Matt?
So what we're going to do is we're just going to be up here randomly talking on our podcast.
Just like we are now.
We might be doing an interview, and all of a sudden you're going to hear this.
Ooh, magical.
Wow. Fantasy.
Yes.
And that's going to give you a cue of, hey, we got this special code that's coming up. And then we're just going to randomly roll off this code.
Yep.
All right. So being the first time that we're doing this, Derek, it's going to be a code, and it's going to be for 25% off.
Oh.
The AMS Anchor Lava Crux.
The QT.
With the QT point, Schmitty.
Yep.
So our Lava Crux is our highest end arrow.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's fiberglass with a carbon core wrapped in the center.
Yep.
Very strong spine.
You can tell it when we're in the shop and we're building them. If you bend a straight fiberglass arrow as hard as you can bend it, and then you take a lava crux and try to do the same thing, that lava crux that spine is so stiff,
right?
Made to withstand impact.
Yep. So you have better penetration.
Yep.
It flies into deeper water, more accurate.
Yep. Yep.
And you just have that more kinetic energy when you enter that fish, shooting a fish down in 2.5, 3 feet of water,
right?
A foot of water. You have more kinetic energy behind that because of the stiffness of that arrow shaft.
Right. Right. Yep.
Another thing I love about that is it's going to be with the QT point, the anchor QT.
I love
quick turn. It's awesome. I don't have to touch the fish. I just grab that arrow, pull it in, turn the shaft counterclockwise. Bloop, out comes that arrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm right back on the deck shooting again.
That combination of lava crux and QT is probably the highest performing combination of arrow shaft plus point that we have here at AMS.
Yep.
It is the Rolls Royce of bow fishing arrows.
Yep.
Very
but
cool.
Here's where that special comes in, Schmitty.
Yep.
That high-end lava crux with an anchor QT.
Yep.
With that discount is going to be probably a little bit cheaper than a standard fiberglass arrow with the QT point on it. And you're getting a high-end lava crux.
Absolutely. Yep.
Woo.
Yep. That's a heck of a deal.
That is.
Honestly. Like I'm glad that we got that one approved. This is going to be interesting to see if we move some product here.
So that is going to start today.
Yep.
What is today's date here, Schmitty? We got February 8th.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That is going to run until February 15th.
15th. Okay. Gotcha. 1 week.
We got 1 week on that on our special on our podcast.
Yep. And just so you guys listening understand, don't go to our website and be looking for a special sales tab or anything announcing it. We're making this a secret. We're gonna reward you guys listening to the podcast before anybody else.
Yeah.
You'll be able to pop that in there and get a heck of a price on a heck of an arrow. No max quantities. You know, it's not like you can just get 1 or 2. You can get 10 if you want.
Get as many as you want.
Yep, we got them stocked up here in the shop, so you can go on there and if when you go into your add to cart when you're ready to check out, there'll be an option there to apply a coupon code. Apply that in there. It'll take off that 25%. You'll be ready to rock and roll.
So during this podcast, when you hear this, it's code time, baby.
Yep.
It's time to get some awesome deals and some awesome AMS products right here when that happens.
Yep. And I know we said the dates, 8th to the 15th. So if you're listening to this 6 days from now, don't think that it'll last a week. It is going to cut off on the 15th.
15th at midnight, it's cutting off.
Yep. So,
and we'll have these on all of our podcasts moving forward here. So it's kind of a fun little deal.
Yeah, we're not going to give you guys the code right now. It'll be sprinkled in, like Matt said, when you hear that little chime.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just keep your ears open and be ready.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then don't forget, this is also going to be on a video podcast. Like I said, I've been shooting a lot with Damian over the years. We've done a lot of tournaments together. We've done a lot of filming together. I'm going to have a lot of cool photos to put up there of Damian. We're going to put up his guide service out there as well. So you can, if you're looking for a place to go out there, we'll have all that information out there.
Yep.
And also on our podcast links, we'll have that out there as well. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to think here, Matt. Is this episode 52? 53?
No, 53, Schmitty.
Oh, is it really? Good Lord. I'm losing track of
the Bowfishing Buzz, man, presented by AMS Bowfishing and
Megamouth Bowfishing as well.
53, Schmitty.
Episode 53. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So with that, let's start moving in. We've got some bowfishing news here. Pre-registration has started for the BAA Worlds that will take place at the Bay County Fairgrounds in Bay City, Michigan on May 20th. And I think they're already up to Zone 3 right now, so they've got quite a few teams that are pre-registered for that. So awesome.
Cool.
And we're going to be there as well. We're going to have a little booth there and stuff. So
gotcha.
Head over there.
Yep,
May 20th.
Yep. To go along with that, Matt, pre-registration has started for the Bass Pro Shops U.S. Open also. That's taking place in Nashville this year. That's April 29th is the date for that. Pre-registration is open.
Yep. That's it.
These tournaments these are the big, cool tournaments. All the bow fishing tournaments are really cool, but these ones are, the Mac Daddies, if you will.
And that's a great time to have that in that area. We don't know exactly the boundaries, but I'm sure it's going to be open to a ton of water.
Yeah.
And that's a great time because there's going to be some hog shot.
I remember, Matt, when
tournament.
we were down in Tennessee this last spring. We were down in Tennessee, and we were shooting some bodies of water. We did not do fantastic, but I remember when you were telling me that when that area down there is good, you said you've always done good in that early to mid April
Absolutely.
time frame. So
Absolutely.
it sounds like that's going to be right in the
That's
middle
prime time.
of when it's going to be really good shooting down there. So
Yep.
that'll be exciting to go down
Right.
there and see what kind of weights get pulled in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, Schmitty,
Oh, this is the most important one.
you bet. So along with all the pre-registrations for the tournament, we've got the pre-registration dates picked out for this year's AMS Big 20, and that will start on March 1st
First.
at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yep.
A lot of you know this year's tournament will take place right here at the AMS shop in Stratford, Wisconsin.
Yep.
Wisconsin waters, the boundaries and stuff can't go out of state. You got to put in here on the local boat landings
Right. Yep.
and the railroad tracks on the Mississippi River and the Great Lakes on the other side. So
Yep. I'm just looking here, Matt. March 1st is a Wednesday.
that is a Wednesday night.
So that is a little different than how we've done it in the past, correct? Did we usually do it on like a weekend day, a Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, we
have
did that on.
pre-registration?
Yep. Reason we're doing this is we figured it'd give everybody a time to get done with work.
Yep.
Get logged in, get registered, and we're gonna have this on our website. We'll have the links to all that stuff. So when we get closer, we'll have information leading up to that as well about the pre-registration. But yes, it's going to be on a March 1st, which is a Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Yeah. Yep. So watch your calendars there. Get pre-registered for all these tournaments.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it's starting to be the time that we're announcing pre-registration for tournaments. It's wild that it's already February 8th.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. You got to start getting your
2023 's
boat
going
and stuff
fast.
ready.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. To go along with that, Matt, we've got some BAA record fish
Yeah.
that we'd like to talk about. Congratulations to Stuart Van Dyke on his BAA World and South Carolina State record blue catfish. Oh, my Lord.
She's a tank.
Weighing in at 84.8 pounds. Holy cow. That's a big fish.
Congratulations, Stuart.
Yeah, nice shooting, Stuart. That's
bet.
awesome. That's very cool.
That's a heck of a fish right there.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So along with that, Derek, we got some blue catfish information.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So a little bit history or background on the blue catfish. The blue catfish is the largest species of North American catfish, reaching lengths up to 65 inches and can weigh up to 150 pounds.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
They can live up to 20 years and primarily live in the Mississippi River drainage, including the Missouri, Ohio, Tennessee, and Arkansas rivers.
That actually amazes me that, okay, so that statistic is that they can live up to 20 years. That would tell me that a 20-year-old fish is in the older echelon of that fish.
Right.
And they can be 150 pounds?
Yeah.
That fish grows so fast.
And some of these other facts, you'll see why, Derek.
Okay, all right.
You'll see exactly why in these next notes right here.
Okay, so to go along with that, the fish is considered an invasive pest in some areas, particularly the Chesapeake Bay. Blue catfish can tolerate brackish water and thus can colonize along inland waterways of coastal regions. Blue catfish are opportunistic predators and eat any species of fish they can catch, along with crawfish, freshwater mussels, frogs, and other readily available aquatic food sources. So they're pretty much just eating whatever they can get their mouth around.
They're hungry 24/7 and gobbling.
Yeah, that sounds like me at lunchtime here.
The ability of the blue catfish to tolerate a wide range of climates and brackish water has allowed it to thrive in Virginia's rivers, lakes, tributaries, and the Chesapeake Bay. Unfortunately, the relatively low mortality rate, large body size, wide range of species preyed upon, and success as a predator has resulted in the blue catfish being considered a problematic invasive species in Virginia. Yep. Blue catfish do eat blue crabs with some regularity, which is problematic because the blue crabs represent the most valuable fishery in the Chesapeake Bay.
That would explain why,
Interesting.
especially Chesapeake Bay, they are considered an invasive pest.
That's just like the stingrays out there.
Sure.
They eat on the blue crabs, and the people out there don't like them,
Right.
especially the people that are harvesting the blue crab.
Right.
Well, we got the same thing right here with the big old blue catfish.
That's crazy how that can translate over into like what that region or area likes to fish for or catch. Like, for example, up here, like people don't like carp, obviously, because they can completely overwhelm and take over a lake that has good walleye and bass fishing.
Dirty it up, stain it up, and
no
release
habitat
phosphorus.
anymore. Yep.
Get a
That's
bunch
cool.
of algae blooms. So that's pretty. I mean, I never knew that about the blue catfish.
I didn't either.
I always thought of the blue catfish as living right below dams and in the big old rocks, and
Right.
which I'm sure they do. But
Yeah.
you always hear those stories. you ever hear those stories? I heard these stories from like my dad from years ago.
Okay, I'm curious where this is going to go, because then I have something to add on to it.
Of the guys that used to go down and have to do some work below the dams, and they would put all that big scuba gear on and stuff like that there, and they were weighted down and they couldn't move really fast, and they would go, and the waters were dark and dingy.
Yep.
And they would go down there and start working on some of them areas, and all of a sudden they said that there was a fish's mouth, like the size of their body, sitting there, and the size of a fish that was just absolutely enormous and tremendous in size.
Yeah, yeah. I remember, I think when I was little, well, still now I'll watch reruns of it. There was a show called River Monsters, with Jeremy Wade, and I'm pretty sure there was one about the blue catfish, and I'm pretty sure it like swallowed a kid whole. Like that was the rumor.
That was his stories. He was always talking about those fish always eating somebody and all that stuff.
Yes, there was one about northern pike too, and how dangerous northern pike were. So that's when I'm like, okay, maybe this is a little embellished, but I do remember one about we're searching for the blue catfish. It swallowed a village child whole.
We're on the River Monsters.
Yes. Yeah. That's kind of how I remember that big fish.
Oh, that's funny.
Yep. Just so everyone knows too, we kind of been discussing over the last month or so, Matt. We went to ATA.
Yep.
You just got back from a buying group show, the MBS show. Later this month, I'm going down to Phoenix for a Sports Inc. show, and those are more dealer-based shows where we're talking to our dealers and people who are selling in the industry.
Not open to the public.
Not open to the public, right. And like right now, for example, there is a retail show going on out in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the Great Outdoors Show. And we've been talking about maybe getting into this space of more retail style shows.
Right. Doing the consumer shows.
Yeah, consumer shows, exposing people to the sport, talking to people about it. People who are there like to hunt and fish, so bowfishing should, fit right in there.
Right.
So we have a couple of them that we've actually added to the schedule that we're going to be doing here.
And Derek, before you tell people where we're going to be at,
Yep.
I'm excited about this.
I think it's a good avenue.
Because it just seems like those dealer shows are just getting stale and old. They know what they want. They know what they need to order.
Right.
This is going to be talking to the retail customers.
Right.
They're going to come up and it's going to be fresh and exciting. And I'm jacked up about these.
Yeah.
I'm excited that we're doing these. I'm really glad that we're doing it.
Yep. I think it's very cool. And like I was talking to you yesterday, Matt, we always get comments and messages on our social media platforms. Hey, are you guys going to be here this week? Are you going to be there? And over the last couple of years, we haven't done these consumer shows.
No.
So we just want to let you guys know that we will be doing some of these over the next 2 months. The first one is the Wisconsin State Hunting and Fishing Expo in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and that is February 24th to the 26th. We'll have a booth up down there with product to sell and whatnot. So if you're going to that show, make sure to stop on by and say hi.
Right. That's at the Resch Center right there close to Lambeau Field.
Yep.
So excited about that. And then also on March 10th to the 12th, we will be in Shakopee, Minnesota at the Deer and Turkey Classic. Very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome to go along with that. March 17th to the 19th, Wisconsin Spring Sports Show. That is in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're kind of staying a little bit closer to home here in Wisconsin just to start out with these initial retail shows just to kind of test the waters a little bit. But yeah, we'll be at a good amount of these shows coming up.
Yep. And we'll be posting these on our social media sites where we're going to be. And don't forget that if you need some bowfishing gear, this is a shows to come to because we're going to be having some pretty good specials on these shows, Derek.
Yep.
AMS gear, Megamouth gear, specials on it. Pick them up, and you're ready for this season.
Yeah. Yep. We will be bringing product down there, and let's just say we don't want to bring much back.
No.
We want to sell it.
And like I said, I'm excited. We're going to have the TVs going with bowfishing videos. People are going to be watching them. People are going to be talking about it. People are going to be asking about it. And it's also to promote the sport of bowfishing.
Right.
Why are we doing this?
Right.
Why are you out there shooting a barrel of carp in a night?
Yep.
Why are you doing that?
Yep.
Well, let me tell you why, man.
Yep.
What do you do with all those fish? Here's what we do with them.
Right. Yep.
So it's educational as well as going there and selling the AMS and Megamouth gear.
It's crazy to me, like when we go to some of these shows or I'm just talking to people in general, and they'll ask me about bowfishing, and I'll explain to them how bad the fish that we're targeting can be for game fish and other species, and people have no idea about that. They just think that all the fish live in the lake and they're all just, they're not hurting each other. And once they realize that, common carp can completely ruin a game fish population in a lake, they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, get them out of there, shoot them. It's kind of like, well, they didn't know that beforehand.
Right.
They didn't know what we were doing, and it's good just to, like you said, educate the public a little bit.
Educate the public about the sport, why we do it.
Right.
Yep. Because people always ask, well, what kind of license do I need?
Yep.
Boom, we help them with that, And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Schmitty.
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
Should be fun.
A lot here.
It should be fun.
But we're going to go to a commercial.
Yes.
And then we're going to be giving Mr. Damian Loveless with Loveless Outdoors a jingle here.
All right.
It's going to be a good little conversation. I'm looking forward to it. So we'll be right back after this break, giving Damian a call.
Sounds good.
Why I Bowfish. Hunting fish with a bow. Non-stop action. Never slow. By day, by night. Great shots. Great fights. With family, with friends. Trash talk never ends. And kids, they love it. If they miss, think nothing of it. By foot, by boat, by board or canoe. How you do it is up to you. Aim low. Shoot fast. Watch your shadow. Watch the grass. Shoot carp, rays, or gar. Shoot 'em close. Shoot 'em far. Stout arrow. Barb tip. Retrieve a reel. Let it rip. Bowfishing. Give it a shot.
And welcome back to the Bowfishing Buzz, episode 53. What do you say, Schmitty?
I think we should give Damian a call.
Let's call up Mr. Damian Loveless from Kentucky.
Yeah, pick his brain a little bit, see what he's got to say.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hey, Damian. This is Matthew and Derek from the Bowfishing Buzz. Thanks for joining us today, man.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Hey, Damian, how you doing?
I'm all right.
Good.
So first of all, I just want to ask you, how's the weather down in Kentucky right now? We got some snow coming in here the next couple of days, but it's actually a nice day here. But what's the weather like down in Kentucky right now on February 8th?
Well, today it's about 60 degrees.
Oh,
nice.
But it's raining. We got a little bit of a cold front coming in for the next couple of days to wrap up duck season down here, and then we've got warm weather moving back in next week.
Awesome.
So,
you're a little bit better off than we are.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Yep. Well, Damian, you and I have known each other for probably since like 2012, 2011, around that time.
Yes, sir.
We've done a lot of shooting together, and I've seen you, from shooting tournaments to where you are now with your guide business and all that stuff. So we're just going to start out with asking you some questions, Damian, and move up to where you kind of are right now. So you ready to rock and roll, dude?
I believe so.
All right. All right. So first thing I want to ask you, Damian, is to give our listeners a little background on yourself, where you live, how you got involved in the sport of bow fishing, and how long you've been doing bow fishing as well.
Okay. Damian Loveless, and I live just outside of Murray, Kentucky, which is just west of Kentucky Lake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's far western Kentucky. For those who aren't as familiar, everybody knows Louisville, Lexington, but they're not as familiar with our end
right
most of the time.
Yep.
I'm a school teacher by trade.
Nice.
I'm a biology teacher, and that's what I do from day to day. And then in all of my extra time, I'm a fishing guide and used to be a tournament shooter a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You asked me about when I got started with bow fishing.
Yeah.
I was about 13 years old.
Okay.
And I don't know how much of the story you want to hear, but
hey, we'll hear the whole story.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had a family moved in next door to us, and the dad was an outdoorsman, much like my dad was. But my dad was never a bow fisherman. He was a deer hunter, a coon hunter, everything else, but
Yep.
not a bow fisherman. The dad next door, his name was Steve Cassie. He took myself and his son and a couple other boys camping over in LBL near Pryor Bay right on the Tennessee state line. He took us out there for about 3 or 4 days, and we were bass fishing primarily. And we all came back to camp one day, and everybody was tired because we'd been up since daylight. And he was cooking lunch, and he said, "Why don't you hop in the boat, go back in the back of the bay, and see if there's any carp rolling back there?" And there was an old bear recurve in the boat. Had one of those, where you wind the string around the little spool.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The old spooler.
Yep, aluminum spool on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I think it was like duct tape to it or something. It was, it was pretty. And I drove back behind the bridge in Pryor, and when I came around the corner, there were carp rolling everywhere.
Oh, wow.
And for about the next 2 hours, I jumped out of the boat and just went bananas back there. And from that point on, I hit it just perfect. And from that point on, I asked him to borrow that bow probably every other day that whole summer. And I would ride I grew up about in the back of Malcolm Creek, which is in Big Bear.
Okay.
I grew up about 2 miles from the water, and I would jump on my 3-wheeler and take that bow, ride to the back of the bay, and then jump out and wade.
Nice.
And shot gar and just all kinds of stuff all summer. And he gave me that bow.
Oh, no kidding.
At the end of that.
Very cool.
Yeah, he said, you just keep it because my boys don't use it. And from that point on, I mean, I just, it just took off.
Sure.
And,
yep. The addiction. You got bit by the bug.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, to add a little bit more to that, I went to school with Jeremiah Redden, Dennis's boy.
Yep.
And when we were in high school, we started doing stuff together. And we started, when we turned 16, we started borrowing Dennis's boat and bows, messing everything up. And we had a big time. It kept us out of a little trouble, and it was just an awesome hobby.
Yeah. Well, I can't tell you how fortunate you were to kind of have Dennis guide you along because of Dennis being Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't have had somebody better to kind of be your mentor as you were in your high school days, bow fishing. Right. With his son.
Been a good role model.
Absolutely. Yep.
And don't get me wrong. Like I say before, my dad he will probably never hear this, but my dad, was a mentor, a spiritual mentor, and
absolutely
just a man's man, and set a good example. But Dennis had different hobbies that he did, so
right.
I was able to draw both. And
absolutely.
He was he's been like a second father to me my whole life.
Yep. So you had the best of both worlds right there. One, your father taking you out on your hunting trips and deer hunting trips, and Dennis taking you out on his bow fishing trips. That's cool.
Yeah. It's really, really good. For sure.
That's very cool, Damian. Can you touch a little bit more on kind of how Dennis was that mentor, that bow fishing mentor, or if you had any other guys as you were growing up that you kind of looked up to in the bow fishing industry?
As far as bow fishing was concerned, he was about my only influence. Other than Mr. Cathy, I was telling you about. He got me started.
Right.
But I think but we never bow fished together. He just provided me with that first experience and the equipment,
mm-hmm.
and told me that it was a lot of fun. And then once I got started, then it was Dennis after that. And there were some boys in high school that we used to, we'd put a small bet on, after school we'd run over to the lake and we'd all put money in the seat of the truck, and then we'd go out in teams and see who could shoot the biggest fish.
Oh, that's cool.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Dennis, when I grew up, I didn't know that much about archery. I had bows when I was a kid, but I didn't know how to work on them. Mm-hmm. And Dennis has always been my bow tech. He's been, he's always had the equipment. I used his equipment for years, before
sure.
I got my own.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go as often,
Yep.
And he had a little 14-foot, I think it was a 14-foot, like a Polar Craft or some John boat. And he put a Honda air fan on that thing. And, we thought we were just in heaven. He would let us borrow it. I didn't say why he let us have that, but he trusted us to take that thing out. And so, he provided the infrastructure to get us
right.
going.
Yep.
And the experience, because he had been bow fishing since nobody was bow fishing. He started, before I was born. He was already bow fishing. So,
sure.
He experienced that I didn't have.
Absolutely.
And I draw off that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, hold on one second, Damian. We've got something we got to do, so just ignore this sound, okay?
Yes.
Oh.
There you go, Schmitty. What does that mean?
That means capital ANKOR 25. Again, Anchor 25, capital ANKOR 25, no spaces. If you know, you know. Let's get back to the interview.
All right. So, Damian, moving forward here, you have competed in a lot of bow fishing tournaments starting at a young age. What are some of your favorite memories of those tournaments?
Oh, wow.
I know you probably got a lot of them.
well, we did so many for so many years, and I talk to Dennis about this sometimes. They all just run together with me, unless I have like something to jog my memory. And I was thinking about this, the last couple of days. And, the first big tournament that we shot was in 2007, and that was the World Shoot. And I remember one moment, very vivid moment from that. We pulled in on our first hole, and it wasn't even dark yet. They turned us loose at like 7 o'clock, and dark was like 8:30.
Right.
We pulled into this spot. We were going to wait till dark because we had buffalo found. And about the time that we shut the motor down and stepped up on the deck and we're going to take some practice shots, we looked down and there's a grass carp just laying there. And I mean, it was a good one. And the first fish we shot that in that tournament was a 61-pound grassy, and we had him in the boat before it even got dark.
Oh my gosh!
We won that tournament, and it was
nice.
That was a sweet memory. We were out there with a troller competing against guys that had boats that were a lot better than what we had. And it was just a neat thing. And let's see.
Cool.
Back in 2009 and 10, they had what they call the Campbell's Outdoor Challenge. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I came down to those, and that's kind of where I first met Dennis at. Yeah, it was before you guys were competing in them. I met him before that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got our first taste of that in 09, and the first year we were really unprepared because we were killers. We could kill fish with anybody. I felt like, but we didn't have any experience with video and videography, and we didn't have camera arms. We had an old generator that was loud, and we were able to kill the fish that it would have taken to win that tournament, but we didn't. We got second place that year, and then with an adjustment of some generators and some camera equipment, we came back in 2010 and won that one, and it was that was a sweet one to win. We were competing against guys we liked, it was pretty awesome to win that one because it was a 3-day. It was just exhausting.
It's grueling. You bet it is. Yep.
Yeah, we put a lot of time and effort into that. It was a sweet victory. Do you want me to keep going?
Well, I remember Dennis telling me something about the Campbell's Challenge in those couple years that you were just talking about, and something happened to where he was getting a little frustrated because he thought that you guys should have had more points. So I think it was like the last night or something like that there. He said, we were going to go out and put the biggest buffs in the boat, the most number buffs in the boat, and just go back so they were going to have to give us the win no matter what.
Sure. Yeah.
And you guys went out and then frickin' just cleaned house on some giant buffs, I think.
Yeah. Are you talking about the second year?
I think it was the second year, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The second year, we wanted, the first year we felt, and it probably was just ego and adrenaline and Jeremiah and I, we get a little heated, and in my old age, I've mellowed out, but, you think I was pretty competitive. I wanted to win. I didn't want second place. I wanted first place, and
right.
we still, the fish were there to have it, but, we got points taken away for the noise and the time, and there were little things that we just didn't do. And the next year we cleaned it up, and we just didn't want to leave any doubt. We wanted to make sure that we put all on the table, and that year we did really well, and that was why I said it was such a sweet one, to pull out.
So you learned, you learned from the year before, and
that's very cool.
and cleaned it up, like you said, the following year, and then you took first place. So that's really cool. You made those adjustments and did it.
Yeah.
There was there's a few more. I don't know if you want to hear all this or not. But there were one year in the world. I'll make it real quick. In 2014 in the Worlds, we took extra gas, and we one way our boat ride was like 40 something miles.
Oh my gosh.
We had a very long run on that one, and that was memorable. It wasn't, we didn't pull out the win. I think we got third that night. But it was neat. You have those tournaments like we shot the total weight tournament in 2015 and won it. And that one stands out to me because I outshot Jeremiah, and that was always nice, we're competitive. We were a good team, but everybody wanted, to do their best. And that night, like I gave them everything I had that night.
And that's a lot of work. That total weight tournament down there is a lot of work compared to competing in like a numbers shoot where you're shooting, you're trying to shoot the smaller fish. Yep. We're up there in your total weights. You guys are shooting big heads and silvers.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that night we got into big heads and we did pretty good damage. it was a lot of fun. And I don't know if you remember the All Out Carp Out. That was that was Jeremiah and I shot that one together. Dennis was unable to shoot that one, but that one was memorable. We killed some giants that night, and for two, I guess it was 2 nights.
Yeah, what those big heads weigh, Damian?
Matt, I don't even remember the weights. They were upper 60s, and
wow.
You know, the smallest fish I think we weighed in was like near 50.
Right.
You know,
wow.
It was they were big.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One thing funny about that All Out Carpo tournament, Damian, is Dennis couldn't shoot with you guys because he was a guide.
Yeah.
So he was not allowed to shoot in that tournament.
Oh, okay.
And Brian Hughes from Backwater Outdoors in Alabama was the one that hosted this tournament. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the first night is takeoff. So all these people take off and they go to their spots. Well, the majority of the people were going right below the dams to shoot, trying to get a big head. Sure. Okay. So here's the funny thing about that is Dennis, Brian Hughes, Andy Cardwell, I think Kenzie were sitting up on the banks below the dam watching all the boats down there.
Yep.
Okay. Somebody calls Brian Hughes and goes, "Hey, man, I just saw Dennis Redden get in the truck with Damian and Jeremiah, so he's shooting his tournament, and that's illegal."
Oh, my gosh.
And Brian Hughes goes, "Really? That's interesting
gosh.
Because he's sitting right here next to me on the banks."
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. You think back on stuff like that happens, and you hope it was just an honest mistake, and there's, when you get that much money involved in a tournament, there's temptation for sure.
Yeah.
People will do things underhanded, but we knew for a fact that we weren't.
Right.
And it frustrates you when you're you're playing by the rules, but yet you have that little, that little, even if it's a little piece of doubt by somebody else,
Yep.
it bothers you.
Absolutely.
And
that actually happened to us, Damian, when we shot in the Muzzy Classic that one year down there. Remember they were
when you shot with us?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. 17?
Yeah, we shot that. And the cool part about this fish was, so we're big head shooting, all right? So we're not using our lights, we're using our Spec Ops lights.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I remember we were going on the bank there, and I hit my light, and I turned it off right away. I says, "Guys, there's a big head just laying right here." And we all got ready, Damian. I don't know if you remember this or not.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yep. And all three of us at the same time, Damian. Ba-boom. We turned the lights on, and we all released at the same time, and every arrow went.
Oh, my gosh.
All 3 arrows just went boom, right into that side of that fish.
Wasn't he 78?
Yep. It's actually still the biggest fish, I think, shot in the Muzzy Classic tournament.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And when we grabbed that fish and pulled it into the boat, I could put my one hand, I could grip almost all 3 arrows with one hand and almost touch my finger.
Yes.
They were all, it was crazy how that happened.
Yes, it was. And the funny part about it is that fish didn't even fight because we all boom, boom, boom. And I think 2 of our arrows spined him. So it actually kind of went, whoop, and just kind of sank. And so you see that fish for a second, you see him for a split second with your lights on. You shoot, you got him. Your lights go out, so it's dark. And I remember you, Damian, going down, like you said, into the hull of the boat. And you got that fish. And I remember I shined my light down there to kind of give you a little light to bring the fish in the boat. And when I saw you pull that fish over the side of the boat and into the tub, I was like, "Damian, are you nuts?" That's the freaking giant.
Yeah, he was special. Wow. And I can remember, that I've shot a million fish in my life, but I can remember how he was laying. There was a big tree there. Yeah. It was flooded, and there was a big tree, and I remember he was laying right there beside it. Just so pretty the way he was laying, and it wasn't a short chip. It was a long shot.
Yeah.
I was just hoping that one of us were gonna get at him, and it turned out everybody aimed small, missed small that day.
Right. And, when we shot at that fish, I thought it was, 35, 40 maybe.
Oh, that's a nice surprise.
Because, you can't, the water depth and the current was going and stuff, and he's behind a log. You really didn't get the good view of him, You knew he was a decent fish. I would have never guessed that fish was 78 pounds when he put him in the boat,
Oh, he was.
Yeah. Yep. That was a good time. That was a lot of fun.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And I'd say of all my memories, those are some that stand out that were some of the ones that are most memorable. We had lots of laughs over the years, but those ones.
Yep. And we could sit around a campfire and talk about these stories, like crazy. One thing that I remember, Damian, is I think I came down there in 2014 and shot in the Worlds down there. And it was you, Dennis, and Damian had your own team, and I really didn't know you that much. I didn't know Jeremiah that much. I knew Dennis a little bit. But I came down to shoot in that tournament with my cousin from Wisconsin here, and Dennis hooked me up with Kevin Baxter, who was a bass fisherman down there on those lakes. And Dennis said, he at least knows the lakes, Dennis said. He knows the lakes. You'll be safe with him, So I came down there, and we scouted and stuff like that there, and Baxter took us to some spots like that there, and we shot in a tournament, and we actually did really well. We finished second.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. And
you upped us by one. I think we were third or something.
Yeah, you guys were third.
Oh, wow.
And I remember Dennis telling me how mad you guys were because you thought that Dennis told me spots where to go scouting.
Well, it was the subject of a long conversation on the way home.
Right.
Well, it wasn't just me. It was Jeremiah too. Yeah. He's like, hey, Baxter, he didn't tell him anything. I didn't tell him anything, and I said, why? Why would you do that? I was like, why would you?
My gosh.
Now that I know you, I don't even care. It doesn't even bother me. You can beat me if you want.
It was just so funny to hear that because it took me a good couple years after knowing Dennis to get in with for you guys to be able to trust me and take me out. And that's one thing I noticed about your team is the reason I think you guys were so good and so competitive for so many years because you had so much information. But not only that is it was just you three. You didn't go shoot a tournament one weekend with some other guys. If Dennis and Jeremiah couldn't make it, you just didn't shoot in a tournament then. And it was just you
or we
three.
Shot it with one.
Right. Exactly.
Jeremiah shot one tournament with his granddad and his brother-in-law who never, and I think he won it.
Right.
And he caught fish. Yep. And we were always we were consistent. We were good friends. We trusted each other, and we would tell each other things, and we kept our mouth shut about to everybody else.
Right.
And I mean, my best friends, my other best friends that might bowfish a little bit will tell you that. I will talk to them and tell them to help them out, but I mean, I'm not going to tell them my best spot.
No.
And that's something that we just didn't do. I mean, we and I think that helped us out a whole lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, if there's one way that you want to lose bow fishing spots is to go shoot with other people, and then they take to other people, and they take other people.
Right.
That that spot isn't very good anymore. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing I've always noticed, and that's why you guys were so good is because you guys were the team, and that's all you guys really shot with.
And everybody on our team was I think each team that bowfishes probably has somebody that's the ringleader. Like somebody is the head honcho.
Right. Yep.
Our team had a different dynamic to it. Dennis was he was ultimately the one that, could make calls, but he left a lot of decisions up to us. And we over the years, I learned a few things, about timing and about when to pull and go somewhere else. And, you always have all these backup plans.
Right.
And you just expect them not to work in a tournament, or I do. Yep. I mean, you scout fish, you go back and they're not there. But knowing when to pull, and somebody has to take up, somebody's got to be the one that says, we got to go.
Right.
Because otherwise it's 3:30 in the morning and the fog's rolling off and you're done.
Yeah.
And you should have moved 2 hours ago. And one thing that we always had was if somebody was having a bad night shooting, that person would automatically just rotate back. You didn't have to tell them. Nobody got mad. You just rotated back.
Right.
And you shot back up. And when you heated back up and somebody else cooled down, then you stepped back up to the front. And we made, we all made decisions. We all scouted the way we wanted to scout. And, it just worked.
Yep.
And if it was, I miss it. I miss that part.
Right. No hard feelings if you're shooting bad that night. No big deal. Let the other guy that's up there hot. Let him get rolling here now, No hurt feelings.
And don't get me wrong. If I was having a bad night or if Jeremiah was having a bad night, we were mad at ourselves.
Right.
But we didn't take that out on everybody else. We knew we had a job to do, we had to do it, and but one thing was for sure, out of the three of us, one might be cold, but you're not going to have more than one that can't shoot that night.
Correct.
You're going to have two, or at least one that's really hot. One that Dennis is always just consistent.
Yep.
He's just a consistent shooter. He's been shooting all of his life, and but he would step back and let Jeremiah and myself shoot 90% of the shots most of the time, and then if one of us, if we missed a time or two, we'd rotate back. He'd step up.
Yep. Yep.
And it was just a lot of fun. We just had a lot of fun. That was we shot tournaments all the way from like 2000 little tournaments in like 2004, 5,
wow.
And then all the way to 2019.
Wow. Yeah.
So we were together a whole lot.
Yeah. So, Damian, you've shot a lot of tournaments, obviously. What did you learn from competing in those tournaments? Is there any lessons or tactics that really stick out that you learned?
Yeah. Like I said a while ago, you always, there's no plan that's 100%. We would scout fish and be patient with them. You can't go out and shoot fish to judge them. We would leave them alone. We judged them. We learned how to judge them in the water. So that ground checking or deck checking them and all that stuff the week before the tournament, it never happened. We would look at fish, judge them in the water, and we would leave spots alone for months.
Right.
We didn't go shoot spots. We'd leave our best spots that we love to shoot. We'd leave them alone. We might not shoot them in a whole year, because they weren't right.
Sure.
We always had 2 or 3 plans, like one that we wanted to do, and then a couple that might work in a pinch. The timing part was a big one. I think a lot of teams that kills them, like not knowing to pull, not having a backup plan, and knowing when to pull.
Right.
If you're on your buff spot and it's 11 o'clock, 10:30, and you're not seeing much, by 10:30, like you better be moving. It's not
Sure.
likely to get a whole lot better for a while. You better be moving around, and then like I said, having a consistent team. I think that's a consistent, talented team.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You can't have a couple weak links. You've got to have people that are available and will work as hard as you do. You can't just have people show up on the night of the tournament and shoot.
Exactly.
You need people that'll help you.
Yep. Yep.
And when you look at other dominant teams, like you look at Descaling,
right? Ryan Devine and that guy. Yep.
Yeah, Devine. You look at Devine and what they do, and the reason they've been successful. Those boys work hard.
Yep.
And they're out there and they're hustling and they're running 3 or 4 different boats, and that's what it takes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, Damian, moving forward now, we've got Loveless Outdoors. When did that all start, and why did you want to become a guide?
Well, I partially, of course, it's monetary. I wanted to have a revenue stream coming from this. Winning tournaments is it'll pay a bill or two, but I mean, to be honest with you, you're not gonna break the bank, probably. With kids and a young family and everything, I wanted a revenue stream and something that I could fall back on after my first career was wrapped up. Dennis encouraged me a few times that I should start.
Okay.
He told me that I had the interpersonal skills and the equipment and the knowledge to do it, and he told me a couple times that I should get my guide license and try it. And, it was just something that it just seemed like a natural fit.
Sure.
I like people. And so, I like being out there and meeting people and taking people out for new experiences, because I mean, I've killed a lot of fish and shot a lot of ducks and done all these things all my life, and it's kind of fun to watch other people do it.
Right.
The excitement you get the first time,
Yep.
Sure.
When did
kid.
So you've been doing that now is this going on your second year now, Damon, or your third year?
No, this is year 5.
Year 5.
Wow.
I'm starting on year 5. Yeah.
Wow. Good for you. That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah. It's been fun, but I've had a good time with it so far, and it's built up, and I've got clients now that come in year after year and do these things with me. And it's, I've made some good friends. It's
Absolutely.
a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. To go along with that, Damian, what can someone expect when they book a guide trip with you?
Well, I mean, it depends on what service they're booking, but for bow fishing, usually we're on the water, somewhere around 6 hours, 5-6 hours. We do day or night shoots a lot of times in the summer, June, July especially.
Yep, that's cool.
They can just expect to have a good time. We're gonna get out there and hustle, and we're gonna shoot at a lot of fish. Now we may not boat a lot of fish, but we're going to fling arrows at a lot of stuff. And
right.
There you go.
Yep.
I want everybody happy, and I work hard to make sure that everybody's satisfied and with their experience and scouting and making sure that everything is good to go and it's safe. I want to make sure that everybody feels everything. Had a little girl last year. She was having a big time, and I had the lights off and I turned the lights on. I was up in a creek and about 200 silvers jumped at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
And her dad, he sent me a message yesterday and said she wants to go again this year, but she wants to leave the lights off. So
I don't blame her.
Oh my gosh.
We can do that.
That's cool. That's cool.
We laugh a lot, and we have a good time, and we shoot a lot of fish, and we shoot a lot of ducks, and we catch a lot of catfish. Whatever I'm out there doing, I want to make sure that people are busy and are having a good time.
Yep,
and
exactly.
So
yep. One thing that I'd like people to know, Damian, about your guide business is your boat. You've got a big boat. I remember I came on there, I think it was last year, the year before, when we were doing a little scouting for the Jared Ashmore tournament. And you can do cartwheels and dance and everything on your boat. You got a big old barge, Damian.
I've got a 24-foot Sea Arc with the 72-inch floor, the biggest one they had when I bought it.
Yeah.
And got it decked out for bow fishing. I also use it for ducks. And then I've got another 24-foot Sea Arc, the same size, but it's all decked out with like bass fishing seats and live wells, and that's what I use for my catfishing platform. So I've got two boats the same size, and I can carry a lot of people safely and comfortably.
Absolutely.
They are really good boats.
Yep.
I can't.
Exactly, and that's one thing. That's why I kind of wanted to bring that up, Damian, is because sometimes you're on a big lake. Kentucky Lake is a big lake. Sometimes you're on the rivers. You got flows and stuff like that there. You're going to be sure that these boats are going to be safe and stable on pretty much all water conditions that you're going to be taking those clients out into. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can side to the other on my deck, and the boat hardly even moves.
Right.
It's a good stable boat.
Yep.
And we try to be as safe as we can. I'm always trying to think about that, trying to make sure everybody has a good time, but also, nobody gets hurt. And so far I've got a perfect record on that. We're doing good.
That's good.
That's very good.
Yeah. Especially when you do have the possibilities, like you said before, of silvers jumping in the boat on you.
Yeah.
I had a little boy last year. Now he was a go-getter, and he was up on the platform. He was probably about 10 years old, I'd say 10 or 11. I had him in a little juice bow, and he was shooting, and we pulled up in a little creek again, and the fish started jumping, and he drew his bow back, and about the time he got it back, one of them hit him and knocked him down. Well, he let the bow down, and he stood back up, and about the time he got back up, another one hit him and knocked him down.
Oh my gosh.
He got up again, and he was getting mad, all these fish were jumping, and the last time he drew his bow back, and at the minute he shot, another one hit him and knocked him down, and he was like, I'm still one of those. And he ended up, he got 8 that night, and he was
good for him.
He was pumped. And, you could hear that kid laughing from, I bet you could hear him laughing for a half mile.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Cool. Wow,
That's really cool, and that's one of the great things that you get to see out of your clients, because I'm guessing that you're getting some of your clients probably have never bowfished before. So they're experiencing that their first time, and it's a treat.
I had a lot of times you get people that have never been and they struggle, to hit anything. But last year I had a couple from Idaho came in, and they were going to some distilleries and going to see a horse race and a football game. They came to Kentucky and Tennessee to do a few things, but they wanted to go bow fishing, and they filled the tank up, I think 2 times. I got 100 gallons. They filled it up twice with silvers down below the dam, and they were naturals. It was I just sat back and turned them loose. I didn't have to do anything. I really felt guilty.
Nice. That's cool.
It's just really cool. You meet tons of people that have never done any of these things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So Damian, you also offer other guided trips besides bow fishing. You just want to tell our listeners what other options you have?
Yeah. So I've got the full year, covered, except for a few weeks in like deer season and stuff like that, or turkey season. But I do bow fishing, and that heats up, in late April and May and June, July, August. That goes through there, and then I do noodling trips, like hogging, like hand grabbing catfish, and that's been a big thing.
I bet
we catch big flathead.
Mm-hmm.
I take people rod and reel catfishing, and that's fun to do. A lot of times that's in the spring and fall, like late or even winter and fall. And we were catching a lot of fish in October and November this year. I get a few people that want to go bluegill and red ear fishing in May.
Oh, sure.
And when they're on the beds, and that's a lot of fun, but that's just a short-lived thing. I do duck hunts in December and January. I do layout boat hunts like they do up your way.
Mm-hmm.
Open water with big spreads, and I hunt divers.
Okay.
And that's been a lot of fun. And then I'm going to offer. It's not on the website yet, but I'm going to offer like camping services where I've got a wall tent.
Oh.
I'm gonna have like a deal where you can come in, and I'll have the wall tent set up with wood, and it's got a wood burning stove in it and stuff.
Oh, very
you
cool.
can come in and fish for 3 or 4 days and stay in that, and kind of pretty neat, because if you wanted to camp, you wouldn't have to bring all your stuff.
Yeah, that's really neat.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's the main things I'm doing right now, and they'll see all that on my website and Instagram, Facebook, whatever they want to look at. They can check that out.
Sure. So one thing I want to ask you here, Damon, we're getting to the end here. I would like to know if you could only bowfish one day out of the entire year, what would you target, and what would the calendar date be?
Ooh, picking his brain.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm interested to see what this is going to be.
I would like to say buffalo.
That's what I was thinking.
I would love to say buffalo, and that date would fall somewhere in mid-April.
Yep.
Probably. But to be honest with you, the chances of having that one day fall at the right time, I would take the wrong day off from work 99 out of so if I were going to bow fish right now and just wanted to shoot a whole bunch of fish, it would probably be like a June 15th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that. And I would just go and just try to sink the boat.
Yep.
And
yep.
that would probably be what I'd choose. Otherwise, if I wanted to try to kill a big buffalo, it would be, it might be like April 12th or something. And I might take a day and go and look, and try to find them. And if you get on them just right,
gotcha.
It's awesome.
Yep. Absolutely.
It doesn't have to very
One thing that by you saying that June 15th date, Damian, I remembered back probably 2015, Damian. I brought my wife down there for her first time to Kentucky to do some bow fishing. And I was filming, and man, it was you, my wife, and Dennis were shooting, and I was filming. And we hit it just right in that middle of June. And you guys put some absolute stud big heads in the boat, some big grass carp. And you guys really, that show was really, really cool, because we were shooting some big fish.
Yeah, you came in at that was probably one of the best, 3-day stints that I've ever been in on. Just the numbers were everything aligned, and it was just perfect. And those fish were giants. We were skipping over fish that weighed 30 pounds to shoot the bigger ones.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yep. I'll never forget, Damien. We were sitting up there, and I'm recording you, and Julie's in the background bringing a fish in. I think she shot a silver, and she's bringing a fish in, and you're closer to the camera, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, right here. And you draw back, and there's a nice big head, and you hit it, and you hit it on for maybe 5 or 6 seconds, and I think you hit it right on the top of the noggin, and it pulled out. And I remember you looking at me and going, man, how did that happen? How did that happen? And as you were knocking your arrow, you look at me and you go, whoa, 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 right here, right here, right here. And I remember swinging the camera past you and looking, and here comes this 60-plus pound big head right on the surface. And after you smoked them, you look back at the camera and you go, reload, or something like that. It was so cool.
It's a good time.
I think God knocked that first one off just to give me that second. I don't know how he came off. I mean, it was perfect. And as soon as I turned back around, he was just cruising right on top. And those days are hard to come by anymore. It's a lot harder to find those fish than it used to be. You guys hit that just right.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Awesome memories though.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Damian, you want to tell our listeners here how they could get a hold of you at Loveless Outdoors?
Yeah. So my website it's Loveless Outdoor Adventures.
Okay.
That's what it is. So just go to the website, Loveless Outdoor Adventures. It's Lovelless. And then you can also find Loveless Outdoor Adventures on Instagram. And from the website, it'll launch you to an email. It'll give you my phone number. You can text me, however, people get in contact with me however you want. So
sure.
But it'll take you to you can go into the catfishing site and it'll send me an email about catfishing, and you can send me. I'm easy to find. Put it that way. Cool. You can Google my name, Google Loveless Outdoor Adventures, and it'll pop right up.
Okay,
perfect.
Very cool.
Perfect.
And we're going to also add your website to our bio here of what this podcast is all about. So we'll get that out there for you as well, Damian. But we'll let you get back to doing what you're doing down there in Kentucky, and we really want to thank you for joining us here on the Bowfishing Buzz. Like I said, you and I could probably have a very long podcast because we've had some great memories. I have so many memories of shooting in tournaments with you guys down there and all over in Missouri and everywhere, Table Rock and all that stuff, the Cajun 8 and all that. So it was so fun to be able to get to know you and be your friend in the bowfishing world here, and to watch you to where you were to where you are now with your guiding business. You do an awesome job, and thank you very much for joining us today on the Bowfishing Buzz, Damian.
Hey, I appreciate you guys inviting me and having me on and letting me talk to you. You bet. Thank you, and take care down there.
Yeah, thanks, Damian.
Yes, sir. We'll be talking to you soon. Come up and shoot something.
You bet. Sounds good. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
These Kentucky boys, they're a different breed. They're a different breed. Man, oh, man. You just got to try to be a sponge. Soak up every little bit of information that you can.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. A lot of good memories with Damian. And like I said, it took him and Jeremiah a good couple years to let me really filter into their little group, their little tight-knit group,
Right. Well, think of it from their standpoint.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
A guy from Wisconsin coming down here, we ain't going to tell him nothing.
Right.
And why would they want to? Right. Absolutely. It took several years to gain their trust.
Yeah. Something that I just thought was interesting about that phone call, he's shot in, I don't know how many tournaments he's shot in his life.
Yeah.
He was recalling the exact year of specific things that happened. I mean, they don't get jumbled up. He's shot God knows how many, dozens and dozens and dozens of tournaments. And he was saying, in 14, he said, and then you brought up one, he goes, that was in 17, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, this guy's got it all stored away, very organized in his mind. That's pretty cool.
And Damian is very, when you get on his boat, I mean, it's clean. I mean, everything's, where it needs to be. Good equipment.
Yeah.
He takes care of his stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't stink.
He's,
they don't smelly and stuff like that.
As shown on the podcast, he's a great people person.
Damian.
He's going to help you.
One thing that Damian does a lot too is he is a biology teacher down there, and he takes a lot of kids out from his class, and they go on special field trips.
That's very cool.
And he's instead of sitting in the classroom doing a bunch of stuff, he's always wanting to get these kids out in the field doing stuff, going to creeks and going to rivers and going in the woods, Sure. What a great place to learn.
Oh, yeah.
Biology stuff is out where biology is.
Yeah, he's an outdoor guide and a biology teacher. Like those are the two.
Yep.
That's a perfect combination for each other. They complement each other very well.
Right. Yep. So yeah. So if you're out there and you're looking for a cool bow fishing trip, you need to look up Damian Loveless, Loveless Outdoors Adventures.
Yep.
And Damian is a man that will get you out there.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean, Schmitty?
That means we're wrapping it up. That's what that means.
Don't forget, if you know your code.
If you know, you know.
You know.
Yeah. Yep.
Go there and get your special on some Anchor Lava Crux QT arrows.
Absolutely.
Yep.
One-time offer. Check them out.
So this is actually going to be our last month. We're going to be doing one podcast a month.
Yeah. Yep.
Once we hit March, we're going to be getting and doing 2 a month.
Yeah.
Get back on our normal
Try
schedule.
to get back on that bi-weekly deal, every other week type of thing. Yep.
And like I said, if you are a bow fishing guide, if you have some great stories that you would like to be on our podcast, we would love to have you on.
Absolutely.
Yep. I'd actually like to get some female bow fishers to come on here as well. Tell us your stories, how you got started.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Absolutely. I know we had Cindy on here, who I think is one of the pioneers of women 100%. Bow fishing, for everything she shot from years back, you know?
Yep. I think so too. If you guys ever have any topics or discussions you guys want us to cover, let us know. Shoot us an email, comment on a Facebook post, Instagram post, whatever. We'll do our best to cater to you guys, the listeners.
So from all of us here at AMS Bowfishing and
Megamouth Bowfishing as well,
we wish you the best of luck. And remember, aim low,
think big. Thanks for listening, guys.